Welcome to another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. I'm Steve Gamache, and today we are looking at the Yoshimune Kurouchi Shirogami, or white paper number 2, Gyuto 210mm knife. This knife has a core steel, as mentioned, of Shirogami, or white paper number 2 reactive carbon steel. The heat treats are at 61 Rockwell on that core steel. The construction is an iron reactive cladding on both sides of that core steel for a 3-layer sandwich. And the cladding does have a kurouchi, or blacksmith finish, on top of that, and it's got a bit of texture to it, which we'll get a close-up look at, but you can kind of see it right there. The core steel is showing through at the edge, so these are handsome knives. What I like about these is the finish where the grind starts and the kurouchi meet. You've got a kind of an irregular artistic flow to it. It's a pretty interesting look to the knife. It's a real nice looking blade in person. So let's take a look at the specs. The weight on the knife is 169 grams, or 6 ounces. And these will all vary a little bit from knife to knife since they're handmade. Blade length on this one's about 213 millimeters on the edge, a little over almost 8.5 inches. And the overall length around 14, almost 15 inches. The spine thickness on this particular one, above the chin or back of the heel here, is about 3.2. It thins out a little bit off that right off the bat, but then holds that thickness pretty much all the way through till you hit the grind. So this doesn't really have much of a distal taper, and the tip actually retains a lot of its thickness until you get right to the very edge. So it's got a very robust tip. They're fairly stiff knives. The blade height is right around 50 millimeters, so it's pretty generous for a 210. The handle type is a semi-custom octagonal bubinga with a wenge ferrule. Really super nice fit and finish on it. And the circumference right here is about 3 inches, so standard size handle. And these blades, what's nice about them, and they vary a little bit from blade to blade, but the other ones I've handled, including a stainless 210 Gyuto from this maker, have plenty of room back here behind the back of the blade called the choil into the neck, or imoto. And you've got lots of room there for a pinch grip, so you got plenty of room to get your finger right there for a pinch grip. The balance point on this knife is pretty close to a pinch grip. The handle's got a little weight to it on this, so it kind of balances that out. So it's pretty close to a pinch grip. Nice neutral balance point. And let's take a look at the blade close up. These are really cool looking blades in person. Try to convey a little bit of that here. But anyway, there's a texture, a real nice texture to the cladding. Remember, these are all reactive, so they are not stainless in any way. And the finish is matte. It's got a little bit of texture, which should help a bit with food release. And they've got a nice kind of mid-height grind to them. Fit and finish is really pretty decent. The spine is nicely rounded, relieved a little bit. And the choil has just enough relief on it for comfort. They're not super rounded, but it should be pretty comfortable right out of the box. Out of the box edge on this was probably a 3 or 4 out of 10, not real great. Sharpen these things up, or get them sharpened before you get them, and they will, perform to their true potential. You're wasting some potential on these trying to just use them straight out of the box. So here's your profile on this knife. We'll put it on the board, but it's got kind of a gentle curve to it. One thing that's cool about the Yoshimune knives is the angle to the tip that gives you a kind of a real nice pointed tip on these. So they've got that style in their blades. It's one of their characteristic features. So let's take a look at it. So there's not much of a flat spot on this. You'll see it's more of a continuous curve. And I can get pretty high about right there before I start digging the tip in on this particular knife. These will vary just a little bit from knife to knife, but I'd say this is more oriented towards rocking, because you can see there's not really much of a flat spot. It's pretty much a continuous curve with a little back belly by the back of the heel, the chin of the knife. So these knives look nice. They perform very well. They have really nice core steel. It is an all-reactive blade, so you have to decide if that's something you want to take on. But I have a lot of reactive blades, and they are fun. They sharpen. These things sharpen up great. And just a really nice performing, real nice looking knife with a really cool semi-custom handles. So there you have the Yoshimune Kurouchi, Shirogami, our white number 2, Gyuto 210mm.